Lorraine, I have several questions from Kevin. Kevin did the Rotorua Marathon just a few weeks ago in 3 hours, 4 minutes and 20 seconds. What is remarkable is that Kevin is 52 years of age, so that's a really remarkable performance.
Yeah, very good.
Now, Kevin's got several questions which I'd like you to have a go at answering in this video series. My next race will be the Kepler Challenge in early December, which is 60 kilometres. How long should I rest before training? Bearing in mind that the Kepler Challenge is several months away and is off-road through the Fiordland National Park area.
Well, before I answer this question, Gary, I would like to point out that recovery after a marathon is an essential part of the training program, and rest should be planned for, or recovery period should always be planned for after a race. So a lot of athletes make the mistake of planning their training from the beginning of the training to the completion of the race and don't consider what they're going to do after the race, so it needs to be factored in. Now, regarding the amount of rest that he would need after a marathon, the general rule of thumb that we've always gone by is 1 mile for 1 day for every mile.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so if he's run a marathon 26 miles, then he would need approximately 26 days of recovery for his recovery to be complete. If it was, say, a 10k race, then 1 week by that general rule of thumb.
So, Lorraine, it's often very common that somebody will run a marathon and they'll be out running the next day, albeit very easily, and within 10 days or so are back into full training.
Yes, well, I think it's very easy to fool yourself into thinking that just because you can run that's the optimal thing to do. I believe that there's cycles in training, and if you can pay careful attention to those cycles and balance out the workout periods with the recovery periods, then you're going to get the optimal results for you as a person. And it takes somebody really tuning into their own body to know when it's appropriate to work the body hard and when it's appropriate to pull back. After a marathon, obviously, is the time to pull back. Often there is tissue damage and enzymes produced in times of stress, especially if the marathon was stressful in the last few miles, or if the conditions were fairly hard, like it was hot or the person got really dehydrated. And it can take a long time for full recovery. So even though you think you're recovered, chances are you're probably not, if that month period is not
Well,
over.
you're often on a high after running something like a marathon, and you want to get out there and train harder than ever. When should somebody start running? Should they have a complete rest after a marathon? At what stage should they start doing any running whatsoever?
Yes. Well, the important thing is that recovery is recovery. So that can mean a lot of things to a lot of runners. Like I could do a 10-mile run after, and that would be a recovery run just because I ran it well within my capacity.
So you'd run it slowly and you wouldn't be doing it at a pace that exhausts you?
Yeah, usually after a marathon I had, just some muscles that were just really sore. And I would take a few days off until my legs came back. I'd do some walking, go to the pool, something that's non-weight bearing, just to allow that tissue to repair itself. You're not going to lose fitness that quickly. I think athletes get very afraid that they've sort of got to step up the ladder, and if they take time off they're going to go right down to the bottom of the ladder. It's not that way. The more seasoned athlete you are, the more recovery you can afford to take, and the quicker you'll get it back.
So if Kevin's going to take 29 days off or 26 days off, what I'm assuming you're saying is that during that period he'll be gradually building the volume and the tempo up to the point where by the time a month is up he's back into full training.
Yes, my advice is to run how you feel. So make it easy and just make it feel good. So don't push yourself. Don't time yourself, leave your watch at home. That's a good discipline for a lot of runners. And just go out and enjoy it, smell the roses. It's non-goal oriented training. The goal is to allow the body to completely recuperate.
Okay, thank you very much, Lorraine.
My pleasure.